Good evening and welcome to this week's edition of Week Previews. As we all know, this marks the Christmas season, and Christmas season marks new releases of films. Gene and I will be reviewing two movies, Gumby, the movie, and Snidely Whiplash and Dudley Do-Right in The Imposter. As we all know, this film involves Snidely Whiplash, and Snidely Whiplash becomes burnt out on crime. In this clip, we'll see Snidely Whiplash walking into the Chief Inspector's office.
Roger, you didn't introduce me. We've got to introduce me to be in the show.
I'm sorry, this is Gene Sissy from the Newark Sun-Times. In this clip, we'll see Snidely Whiplash.
Roger, I'm doing the show here first, remember? I get to introduce Gumby, the movie, first. So don't panic, for God's sake. Of course, across the aisle from me is the bumbling Roger Egbert of the Terre Haute Tribune. Our first film tonight is Gumby, the movie. You all remember him as that lovable clay character from back in the late 60s on television in a Clokey production. In this following clip that we're about to see, Gumby, who represents good, is out against evil, and those evil blockheads, of course, are always in the way. We see as Gumby tries to work with modern technology to overcome evil in the following clip where he tries to get back some hair potion.
There they go.
Hey, they're shooting candy at us. This is getting ridiculous. All this for a bottle of hair formula. They're bailing out in parachutes.
Well, we'll go down and meet them with...
Of course, no Gumby movie is really complete without the classic aerial chase scene where there's the shooting and everything. And as you know, Gumby, of course, will probably come out on the top in the end and win out over the blockheads. It's great cinema. It's the old melodrama that you used to go to and sit through a Saturday matinee as a kid. It's good. Gumby, you can identify with him. He's bigger than life. He's that little clay man, you know, shot up with candy. I like the film, Roger. I gave it a thumbs up.
I disagree with you. The movie was infantile and immature. It didn't work for me. The chemistry did not work for me. Chances of anyone liking this film are slim to none, and Slim's out of town, I mind you.
Well, that may be the case, but I still like the film. I think the reason you didn't like it is because you were probably out in the concession stand getting a lot of food instead of watching the film like you should have been.
And I didn't. Now we'll introduce The Imposter, involving Snidely Whiplash and the ever-so-popular Dudley Do-Right. The basic plot of this film involves Snidely Whiplash becoming burnt out on crime. In this next clip, we'll see Snidely Whiplash going to the Chief Inspector's office to turn himself in.
Monty Post. Take me, I'm yours. Snidely Whiplash himself. Put on the derbies and... Eh? Strange. There's no one here over whom to turn myself over. How do I look, Homer? Let's see. Dudley Do-Right, come in here.
You sent for me, sir? Oh, good to have you back, sir. We've all been worried. Searched the entire countryside.
But I'm not the inspector. You can get away with it, Homer.
Why not? Nell, your daddy has returned.
Why, that's not my daddy.
I know, Nell. He doesn't look the same, but how could he after the ordeal he's been through?
Ordeal?
Dudley, I want you to lock up Nell in the stockade. That's an order.
Yes, sir, Inspector Fenwick. And may I say, sir, it's good to have you back. Come along, Nell.
Dudley Do-Right, you are a nut.
What Dudley didn't know was that Inspector Fenwick wasn't lost at all.
Well, I'll tell you, I like this film, and unlike our last film, the chemistry did work here. The animation, Mom, Dad, Junior, and Sis could all go to this film and enjoy it. I enjoyed it, and I walked out of this film with a tremendous feeling. It was humorous, and the animation was tremendous.
I don't know. I beg to differ with you there, Roger. Probably the only reason you could walk out of that film with a tremendous feeling is because you ate too many Raisinets, Snowcaps, and Goobers. The film was terrible. One-dimensional characters. It was a cardboard plot. It was just day in, day out. You've seen it before. It's a waste of celluloid. I wouldn't recommend it to my dog. That's how much I hate it. The film was a dog. I give it a thumbs down. Well, our final film tonight comes from our classic film vault. And it's a classic. It's from the old Don Knotts show. Let me get it out of the vault here. Excuse me here. It's a little dusty. The film features Don Knotts during the zenith of his acting career. In the film, it's entitled The Ghost of Mr. Chicken. In the film, Don Knotts portrays the inept newspaper reporter who has to spend the night in a haunted mansion. And some pretty strange things start happening, and I think you can see why this is a classic film as we look at this clip. Are we doing on time?
Blood.
There you have it, Don Knotts. You can't beat him. You know, as Barney Fife in the Andy Griffith Show, he rose to fame. But this is probably the culmination of his career. It was just fantastic. You know, the secret of this film lies in its simplicity, but at the same time you can identify with the clown character, Don Knotts, the bulging eyes and everything else, the ineptitude. And of course, in the end, Don Knotts gets, of course, what he deserves, but I wouldn't want to give that away. It is a classic film. The whole family can enjoy the film. That's what makes it a classic in my book. It ranks right up there with Gone with the Wind, Wizard of Oz, any of the old classics. This film, it has style, it has finesse, which is what so many films today are lacking. The chemistry might be there, but there's no finesse. And that's what I liked about the film. It had finesse, it had everything that you need to have a good melodrama on film. And that's Don Knotts for you right there, the king of melodrama, the clown prince of comedy on celluloid. Take the kids to see it, The Ghost of Mr. Chicken. I like the film.
I totally disagree with you. The bulging eyes, it's like watching a Mondale speech. It does not work for me. It gets old, redundant. You see the same thing every scene. I didn't care for the movie. It was ridiculous, and it was an insult to my intelligence. And it would be an insult to anyone's intelligence. And Gene, I'm surprised, a man of your intelligence, being amused by this movie. The simplicity, you're correct in the word usage of simplicity. Simplicity is the correct word for this. It goes on and on. Basically, it does not work.
Yes, but see, I don't think you understood what I meant. The simplicity is its complexity. In other words,
I
the film is
fully
simple,
what you meant.
yet I don't think you did. I think you were too busy thinking about what you're going to eat for lunch,
I think
and you
your
weren't
third
worried
marriage
about it.
is on the rocks.
I think you
That's
should
the
shut
problem.
up. Next week on Week Previews, we'll be looking at 3 all-new films that will be released at neighborhood theaters over the time, including such wonderful hits as Oh God, You Devil and Silent Night, Deadly Night, a bad film. Until next week, this is Gene Siskel and Roger Egbert saying goodbye.
Services provided by American Airlines in exchange for this promotional announcement.